If you build it, they will come.
Judy, did you just hear that?
William, they already built it. We'll take you to this field of dreams next on Garden Time. Welcome to Garden Time. We're at Swan Island Dahlias for their Dahlia Festival, which is happening through Monday.
And on the show today, we are going to show you how you can make wonderful floral arrangements from your own dahlias.
And also coming up, we'll be telling you about the 14-gallon challenge.
But coming up first, we give an old garden a new twist.
Well, I always like to see Rick Naylor from French Prairie Perennials in Aurora and Visualscaping, because you always have such interesting projects, and this one is just tremendous.
It is. This one we're very proud of, and it was exciting because it was a real challenge, and it came out perfect.
Yeah, so I see they did an addition here, and then you did a lot of additional things to kind of spruce it up and make it just even better than it was.
Exactly. They built a whole room just to enjoy her garden because this is a beautiful garden.
Cool.
So what we had to do is try to work with that.
Sure.
And make sure that everything we did kind of highlighted what she'd already done.
Right.
So what we did was we came in and there was some old pavers, you know, the round pavers that, you know, we ripped all those out, put in this new paver walkway, and then here we had a stacked stone retaining wall that was kind of falling apart. And
ooh, dangerous.
Yeah, it was. So we ripped that all out and put this garden wall in. And
this is a nice conversation area because it's even bigger than it was before.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And added a couple of columns so that we had a kind of separation between space and the new patio that we put in.
Very nice.
And
I love that it's different textures. It's not just all these pavers and the bricks, but it's different. It's stepping stones, and it makes it look really interesting and varied.
Right, and that's kind of, you know, as you know, that's what we love to do. We love to use different textures and colors to kind of highlight each other in the garden. And you don't necessarily have to have us come in and rip out your whole yard.
Right.
We can kind of come in and enhance what you already have, and that's what we did here. Here, what we didn't want was a bunch of walkways that kind of joined together like a freeway interchange.
Right.
So we ended the new walkway over here, and we put in the stepping stones so that we add some plant material so we can highlight each of the individual spaces.
Beautiful. And how did you choose? Because there's so much plant material here. How did you kind of make it look new and fresh, but still cohesive?
Well, it took a lot of time and it took a lot of thought because I really wanted to work with what she already had and kind of move that out into the new space. And so it took a lot of time and thought, but it came all together.
Nice.
So it was good, and I'm happy with the way it turned out.
Rick, we have some video of like the before of this. It's a really established landscape. The homeowner's really been here a long time.
Absolutely, and there was a lot of pressure to make sure that we enhanced everything that she already had. And so put a lot of time and effort into it, but it came out great.
Yeah, and really it's a 4-season garden, so really you're still continuing that with all these new plantings.
Absolutely. You know, that's the focus of Visualscaping, is to make sure that you can enjoy your garden all the months of the year, and so we just continued that here.
What I always love about Visualscaping is the conifers. It's kind of like your signature kind of effect with all your planting, so you have a great selection here.
Right, and there's so many different textures and colors that you can work with conifers, and then you have so many different sizes and miniatures, dwarfs, intermediate, large. So there's such a wide palette that you can use, and I think, you know, conifers got a bad name at one point in time because but there's so many new varieties now and so many different colors that using them in conjunction with some of the other deciduous material, they work great.
And then what about the future? You think maybe another phase that you want to talk to the homeowner about?
Well, for her, with the new addition that she put on, so she can enjoy it 24/7, is put some outdoor lighting.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, light the whole garden up at night so that even in the evening when you know, wintertime or whatever, when days are shorter, you can enjoy the garden.
That is a nice idea. I think we always forget about lighting, so remember that. But you know, if you have any other questions about this lovely, lovely space, you can go to Garden Time. We'll click you over to Visualscaping, to French Prairie Perennials. You can talk to Rick about coming out and maybe just sparking up your landscape. Thanks so much, Rick.
You're welcome.
So our tip this week for the garden is on pears and how to know when they're ripe. Now, unlike apples, many of the most popular varieties of pears won't ripen on the tree properly. What you'll get is a pear that tastes good for about a ½ inch in, and then you get that mealy, gritty texture that really none of us like in our pears. To stop this from happening, all you have to do is make sure that the pear is mature but not ripening. And you do that by just going up to your pears, and you can put your thumb on the top, and if it presses in gently when you put pressure on it, well, you know that it's time to pick it. That doesn't mean it's ripe, it's just time to pick the mature pear to let it ripen. Now you do this by chilling it, oddly enough. What this does is keeps the process of ripening from going too fast, slows it down, and then lets the whole pear ripen so you get that really delicious sweet flavor that you're looking for. For more information on the different most popular varieties, go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to a publication that gives you specifics.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru. Your way on the Parkway.
I've been a Capital Subaru customer for 15 years, and one of the main reasons is because they treat me well and I want to shop local. The service department is excellent, and I always feel like I'm taken care of here. In fact, they call me now even after I've driven off the lot to remind me to come in and get my car washed. That's service. One of the reasons why I like coming to Capital Subaru, actually, they have the dog area, and I can just walk my dog around the whole area and we can enjoy the outside. I got it my way on the Parkway.
The fields are in bloom and looking beautiful.
We welcome everyone to come visit us here at Swan Island Dahlias.
Stop by Swan Island Dahlias in Canby and stroll the 40 acres of blooms. And don't forget the Dahlia Festival the last weekend in August and Labor Day weekend. During the festival, you can see over 400 cut flower displays, enjoy specialty foods, and see flower arranging demonstrations.
Swan Island Dahlias is located in Canby.
Just minutes south of Portland.
Come see us!
So I am sitting here with Shelley from the Regional Water Providers Consortium. And Shelley, we're going to be talking about this thing called the 14 Gallons Challenge. I don't know what that is, so clarify it for me.
Happy to. So here in the Pacific Northwest, it's really important that we have emergency kits. And most people remember to keep some canned foods and maybe some first aid supplies, but a lot of people overlook water. And water is the most important thing that we can have in our emergency kits. You can survive for weeks without food, but only a few days without water.
Right. And to me, what's interesting about this is, honestly, I think because we live in the Northwest, because we are water rich, I don't really ever think about saving water for myself. So this is part of a challenge that helps us be aware of that then.
Yes. So what we're asking people to do is to get 14 gallons of water in their home. You want 1 gallon per person per day for 14 days, but you may need more if you have pets or people with special needs of any kind.
Right.
And then take a picture of your 14 gallon, of your pile of 14 gallons, for the more creative the better.
Right.
And then put that on social media and tag 3 of your friends with the hashtag 14 Gallon Challenge.
And 2, that's just 1 gallon per person, right, per day. So if you have a child, if you have a partner, you have to think of pets too, I would think. So it can really add up, but this is a way to make sure that you have enough water for an emergency if that were to occur, right?
Yes.
So we're in a lovely home right here in Portland, but I don't see a lot of water jugs hidden around. Where can you put them?
That's what we are here to show you today. This is a smaller home in Portland, and there's a lot of very innovative and creative solutions where water is stashed in this house.
So let's talk about some of them. What are they?
Right underneath us, we actually have about 8 gallons of water.
Wow. See, I would have not thought that. But what are they in?
They're in gallon jugs, and they're just slid underneath. This couch has enough clearance that works.
And where else in this house would they keep water?
We have some in the back of closets and in the back of drawers. What are those deep drawers? You can just put 1 water bottle in the back of there, and that space that's kind of dead space anyways.
Sure.
You can also put it in the back of cabinets. You can even put it under your bed.
And I would think that a great place for stuff like that, water like that, would be like under a desk. There's a lot of space under a desk, maybe for a trash can, but you could also put water there.
Absolutely.
So is there any right or wrong way? Is there a wrong way to save water? Let's ask that way.
There's more of an ideal way and then a less ideal way. However, having any water on hand is going to be better than having no water. Ideally, you want it to be in a dark, cool space, but if you don't have that option, it's better that you have some water versus no water.
And then what is the length of time that you can keep that specific water once you save it? Is there a limit?
There's not really a limit. If the water gets, it might start getting a little bit weird tasting, but it's going to be safe to drink still.
So Shelley, is there a specific type of container you should use that is the best to use?
There's a couple different options. You can either buy water that is pre-sealed at the store, and I would rotate that out with the expiration date that's printed on it. Okay. Or you can buy your own containers, which I like because you can get the shape that best fits your household. Right. And with those, you're going to want to rotate the water every 6 months or so. I like to do it in the summer and dump the water onto my garden.
Right. So you're not wasting the water
Yeah.
any way it goes. You're still using it.
Absolutely. The material of the plastic is very important for storing the water. You do not want to use milk jugs, and the more rigid the plastic, the better it's going to hold up.
It's going to be. And then if people want information, where do they go to find that information about this?
Regionalh2o.org.
And that will give them also the directions not only of how to store water safely and the best way to do it, but then that is where they would put the picture if they take it?
Oh no, you put the picture directly to your social media.
Ah, okay. All right, that sounds good. Well, you know, we all love water and we don't want to live without it. And in the Northwest, we can still be water wise and use it the best way possible. So for more information, you can go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to that website, take your picture, and have a great time. Thank you so much, Shelley.
Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Do you want to be green? Do the easy stuff first. Hi, I'm Sarah from Portland Nursery. The U.S. House Energy and Commerce Committee says for every dollar spent on a shade tree, you can save $5 on cooling, blocking the penetrating heat in the summer and allowing the warm rays through in the winter. Dollar for dollar, there's no better energy and money saver than a good, deciduous shade tree. Portland Nursery's professionals can help you make the perfect selection. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
It's the Standard TV and Appliance Store-Wide Sale going on now.
Save big. Huge price cuts on appliances and mattresses. Get a GE front-load washer with steam, only $634. Or a Samsung stainless steel French door refrigerator, only $999. Save big on a Whirlpool stainless steel dishwasher, now just $349. Plus, get a Simmons Beauty Sleep Queen mattress for just $349.
Hurry! The store-wide sale ends Monday. Standard TV and Appliance.
Enjoy a summer of art and color. Visit the Oregon Garden for Art in the Garden now through September 30th. See outstanding and inspired art that represents both traditional and modern styles, carefully placed throughout the garden. See the combination of beautiful plants and great art as you stroll the gardens. Just pick up your map at the Visitor Center on your next visit. For details on Art in the Garden and a schedule of all our summer events, go to OregonGarden.org.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
Well, I'm standing out in the beautiful dahlia fields of Swan Island Dahlias, and I'm here with Heather. How are you, Heather?
Good, how are you?
I'm wonderful, and you know, one of the things I love about dahlias is they seem to bloom a long time. They're so beautiful, and they're one of those great flowers that we can actually bring indoors and make beautiful arrangements out pretty easily.
Yeah.
You're going to help us learn how to do that today,
Hopefully,
aren't you?
yes.
So you have a couple of hints, though, about cut flowers. Let's go over that first before we start.
Main thing with dahlias is they are a great cut flower as long as they've been hot water treated. So once you go out to your garden, enjoy them, bring them in, get all your flowers ready, they need to go in hot water. So they need to go in 160 to 170 degree water, hotter than your tap water, but not boiling.
Yeah, and you can see what it's actually, the colors change.
Right, so they want to go in 2 to 3 inches deep in a plastic or metal container. Stay away from a glass jar as the water will cool too quickly.
Okay.
So it's really important, just like a mopping bucket, a coffee can, anything like that would work perfect, but make sure your stems are long enough that the buds and the flowers will be out of the steam and not trapped down inside the bucket.
Well, and I've noticed that you even did it with the other flowers that you're using. So you don't just do it with dahlias, you do it with all of them.
I do it with a lot of flowers that we have trouble with wilting prematurely.
Okay.
So we found it'll work on a lot of flowers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, once that's done, you know, I don't know if it's just me, but I think a lot of people would agree with me. There's an intimidation factor of making something this beautiful as these arrangements in these glass jars are. So give us some tips and put one together for us.
So a couple tips are, once you've hot water treated, so they're gonna sit a minimum of an hour or until the water cools, then they're ready to go. If you're gonna work with floral foam, which we'll do here in a minute, you're gonna work with flowers first. But if you're gonna do jars, which seem like one of the big hits this year, especially for weddings and things, big thing to do first is put in your filler. You're going to have to create a base of some type to hold those stems.
All right, that
so
makes
if you
sense.
just try and put flowers in, they're all going to fall to the outside and never be what you want them to be. So like for instance, the hydrangeas can go in here. A good thing to remember is to pull off those leaves, because the leaves or anything down in the water besides the stems are going to grow the bacteria the quickest. So it's really important to go ahead and clean those guys off and get these guys tucked in. Now once I've created a base, once I go to stick my flowers in there, and we believe if you trim off buds, use them later in your arrangement, but if you trim them off, this flower will last longest if it's only feeding one flower.
Okay, that makes sense too.
Right when I go ahead and put this guy in, it's going to stand right where I want it to. So you could do that with all different kinds of greenery, flowers, just some type of base has to be created. So in this guy, I put the greenery in first, then the flowers, and it can totally depend on how big you want it to be, on how many flowers you need. Most common question is, how many go in a mason jar? Well, it could be 5, it could be a dozen. It just depends on the look you want. Some people do small little mounds, kind of like what I've done here with the hydrangeas. So you kind of have a lot of options.
And Heather, you're a big believer in that it's not so much that there is a correct way, it's what you like, and because it's going to set in your house.
It's in the eye of the beholder. People are sometimes afraid to mix colors and things, and I think it's whatever you love.
I agree with you.
Flowers are flowers, so they can all go together.
So now this is a very simple thing to do.
Right.
How about something that it might seem a bit more intimidating, which is this lovely green foam?
Yes, floral foam is fun to work with. It just has a few important things to remember. One is that you need to make sure you have the right type of floral foam. There's all different brands and names and styles on the market. You need one that's meant for summertime flowers.
Really?
So in the Oasis brand, you need deluxe or standard. There's a springtime, which is meant for tulips, daffodils. It's very soft and it would not hold your dahlia stems.
All right.
There's a Sahara that's a dried foam that'll never soak water. So your flowers would obviously die instantly. So it's really important that you start with the right foam.
I did not know that.
Otherwise, you're in trouble right off the bat before you've even done your arrangement. Second thing, when I worked with the vase, filler flowers went in first.
Certainly.
With floral foam, it's going to be the opposite. Dahlias in first, or whatever your flowers might be for the summertime. Glads, liatris, because they have so much foliage on them, it will require a lot less filler, and you won't be fighting the stems. If I start with greenery and I cover this, which is what most florist shops, a trainee would be doing, is covering this with greens first. If I start that way, then I have a good chance of blocking one of these stems, and the hollow stem would never get any water. So we really recommend that you wait and put your greens in at the end. And again, make sure that you've cleaned your stem off, because any leaves that you put in that is going to create bacteria.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break while you work on this, and we're going to come back and talk to you about it, okay?
Sounds great.
All right, Heather, I have to say that probably about 10 minutes have passed, and you put together in a very short amount of time this beautiful, beautiful arrangement. Tell me, what were some of the steps that you went through?
Well, I make sure in the floral foam that you start with your tallest points, your widest points. So I set my boundaries, and then I'm going to work in from there. Most people, when they start floral arranging, want to start with the perfect center bloom right facing.
Yeah.
And then it's very hard to go outwards. So what I say, it's like learning to color. You outline first, and then fill in from there.
Well, and what I love about this is you've used two different types of dahlias, that foliage, and then salal.
Yeah,
There's
salal.
only really 2 different types of plants in
Yeah.
there, and it is beautiful.
Thank you. I just went back and added those buds, the extra dahlia
Yep.
greens, back in as my filler, so it made it nice to not have to have a lot of other things.
Put in there with
Put
it. Yeah,
in.
it's a lovely thing. Now, while you finish up this one, if people want to come out and see the fields, it's just a perfect time of year to do that, isn't it?
Beautiful time of
Yeah.
year. Fields are open 7 days a week, daylight to dark. Or we'd like to say about 6 to 7 o'clock at night, but somewhere in that range.
And if they're interested in the arrangements, what's happening soon that we can come and visit you on that?
Last weekend in August and Labor Day weekend, we do our big annual festival. So there will be over 400 floral arrangements indoors to see. Fields will be in prime. There's food vendors, there'll be music, lots of fun things going on. There will also be these classes to learn a little bit more on the floral arranging and culture of dahlias.
Well, if you love dahlias and if you would like to learn how to do some of these for your own home, you can go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to their website, come out and enjoy the beautiful party out here at Swan Island Dahlias. Thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you.
I can build.
I can build.
I can build, and you can too.
Building a career in the construction industry can kick off a lifetime of security, and the Northwest College of Construction can help you start that career. Apprentices get paid to learn on the job and receive a full scholarship at NWCOC. Northwest College of Construction will teach you how to build.
We can build.
And you can too.
Apply online at nwcoc.com.
1,112? 1,113?
William, what are you counting?
I'm counting all of our wonderful friends on Facebook.
And we invite everyone to go to Facebook and like us and follow us.
All you have to do is go to gardentime.tv and hit the Facebook icon, which is in the top right-hand corner.
It's the best place to get the most updated information on Garden Time.
So all you have to do is click us and like us.
The fields are in bloom and looking beautiful.
We welcome everyone to come visit us here at Swan Island Dahlias.
Stop by Swan Island Dahlias in Canby and stroll the 40 acres of blooms. And don't forget the Dahlia Festival the last weekend in August and Labor Day weekend. During the festival, you can see over 400 cut flower displays, enjoy specialty foods, and see flower arranging demonstrations.
Swan Island Dahlias is located in Canby.
Just minutes south of Portland.
Come see us!
So I'm down here in Corvallis at a wonderful distillery, and what they distill here is Spiritopia. And I'm here with Sebastian, who we're going to gather some information about this. Sebastian, first of all, this is a relatively new product out, isn't it?
Yes, about 3.5 years ago we started making the ginger liqueur, and then more recently we've put out the apple and the pomegranate liqueurs. In that process we've also developed our own brandy, which is a bourbon style brandy. And they're all available for purchase at all of the OLCC stores in Oregon, and now we're available in Washington, California as well.
So tell me, it seems odd because, you know, I have certainly talked to you before at different events, and I've made it clear that I'm not a big fan of ginger myself, but when I tasted this, it changed my mind completely. Tell me, first of all, where did the idea for a ginger liqueur come from, and what is the process that gets you to make it so delicious?
Well, it started off as an idea that came from my boss's wife. She always enjoyed a ginger liqueur from France, and my boss thought he could do better, so he did. And this is by far more intense, more gingery, and overall better balanced product.
It really is. It's absolutely wonderful. And you do really go through a very specific process on how do you keep the flavors the same consistently.
Yes, we do all of our own analytical work, and we pride ourselves on the chemistry side of the liquor making process, as well as the blending process, which is traditionally done just by smelling and tasting, which we always love to do.
And you even, I mean, it's not like you're buying powdered ginger. You actually get in the real ginger, shave it up, let it, I mean, you do it all right here.
Absolutely. We start off with fresh ginger, and then we work our way up by basically dissolving it for about 3 months, and then we sweeten it at the very end and add a few spices just to balance out those flavors.
So then next you did get an apple liqueur as well, and this is even newer, isn't it? This is
Yes, that came out last summer, and that's made with Oregon and Washington apples.
Nice.
It's 100% apple and gluten-free, of course. And what we do is we blend a combination of the cider, the juice, and a apple brandy, which we make ourselves. And that is literally all that's in the bottle. So it is 100% apple.
And so you mentioned the apple brandy. Tell me about that, because in my mind, because I'm no specialist in this field, I just enjoy the drink itself. It seems like brandy and liqueur are very different creatures.
They are, very much so. So these are very easy to drink on their own, just with a little bit of ice or soda, and they're very fruit forward. So this really tastes like ginger, this really tastes like apple, and this really tastes like pomegranate. The brandy, on the other hand, that has more of a whiskey note to it, and that's a much higher proof of alcohol. We bottled this batch at 104 proof.
Wow.
That's right out of the cask, and it's very woody. So the flavor comes more from the process than it does from the actual substrate.
Now your newest one, Sebastian, is pomegranate.
Yeah, pomegranate's made with the apple brandy that goes into our apple liqueur as well. And it is flavored with the pomegranate juice straight from the farm in Northern California.
Really? And that's one great thing about this place. I'm just pouring me a little to taste right here.
I think you should.
Yeah, it's one great thing about Spiritopia is you really put effort in to getting products as locally as you can to make your stuff out of.
Absolutely. We're definitely trying to do that with all of our products, and particularly sourcing from the West Coast.
I have to say that once again, the same way when I tasted this one, it's pomegranate. It's absolutely delightful.
True to the fruit is what we say here at Spiritopia.
Wonderful. Well, for more information on where you can find these wonderful products that really pay attention to how they're made and created for all of us, you can go to gardentime.tv. We'll click over to their website. Not only can you find the address and the hours for this wonderful tasting room, you can also find out where you can go and buy a bottle of it all for yourself. Thank you so much, Sebastian. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
We want to thank you for watching today, and we want to thank Swan Island Dahlias for letting us hang out. Now you can come today, tomorrow, or Monday to the festival and to enjoy all these beautiful flowers.
And if you'd like to rewatch today's show, we can always invite you to go to gardentime.tv and also have a wonderful Labor Day.
William and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week here on Garden Time.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.